Hey y'all, they say an apple a day keeps the doctor away, so I'm at Steel Orchards in Coleman, Alabama, picking all the apples to show y'all 6 easy fall recipes using apples that aren't pie. I'm gonna talk to the owner to see what types of apples they grow in Alabama, what's the best way to pick an apple, when is an apple actually ripe, and what's the best type of apple to use for my specific recipes, so you don't wanna miss it. I'm with Miss Linda Steele of Steel Orchards in Coleman, Alabama. Thank you so much for having me at your orchard today. I'm so excited.
Well, thank you for coming. We're happy to have you.
Thank you. How long have y'all been in Coleman growing apples?
Well, we started this orchard in 1985. We love to eat apples is the reason we got into the apple business. We only had 2 varieties and now we have about 20, so.
20 varieties? Which variety of all the ones that you grow is your favorite?
I love McIntosh. We only have a few of those, and I'm really crazy about Fuji's.
Fuji's and McIntosh. How do you know when an apple is ready to pick off of the tree?
Well, you can actually, they'll start falling off the tree if it's time.
If it's time. So if you see one that just fell, that's a really good apple.
It's a good indication that it's getting close.
Okay. I always grew up learning that if you put the apples in Sprite or lemon water that they don't turn brown as quickly. Do you have a different secret that you do?
Well, the cheapest thing would just be salt.
Salt water? Really?
A teaspoon in a big bowl.
Huh, I never heard that.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I'm gonna have to give that a try when I get home. That's cool.
Yeah, it's the cheapest.
Okay. And you said that you grade them A, B, and C.
Right.
A is for people to eat. They're beautiful apples.
Right, to bag them up.
B, you can give them to people, but usually you recommend to cook with them because they're not the prettiest.
Yeah, exactly.
And then C are critter apples. I like that C because it also stands for critter.
Right.
If you were on an island and you could take one apple with you, which one would it be?
It'd be the Fuji.
I love them too. I think a lot of people love Fujis.
Yes.
They are crowd pleasers for sure. Do you think this one looks good? Is it ready to pick?
Yes, it is ready.
So tell me the best way to pick an apple.
You're supposed to hold it, twist it, and lift up.
Hold it, twist it.
And lift, yeah.
Like
You're supposed
this?
to kind of lift it up, yeah.
Like this?
Yeah, there you go.
Okay, I didn't get the stem. Is that okay?
Hey, it's all right.
It's all right. Are these ready to eat?
Oh, yes.
I can take a bite?
Yes, you can.
Okay. They're
nice
really
and crisp.
good.
Yes.
All right, I have all of my apples. It is time to turn them into some delicious snacks. I have 6, can you believe it? Recipes that are not apple pie for these apples that are so easy, so delicious. Most of them take less than an hour, so let's get started. The first obviously has to be a drink because I want to sip on this for the rest of the apple recipes. Caramel apple sangria, y'all. Yum. A full bottle of pecan, this is 750 milliliters, pecan flavored vodka. 4 cups of cold apple cider, 5 to 6 cinnamon sticks. You can put however many in there you want. It's really just for the look. It does flavor it a little bit. So you can put small apples. I'm gonna do a mixture of colors. So I have some green ones here. I'm just gonna float these in here. I'm gonna grab some red ones. And then, y'all, Prosecco. You could use any kind of sparkling wine. Prosecco, champagne. I wouldn't recommend spending all of your money on real champagne for this. Any kind of sparkling wine will do. Just make sure it's dry and not sweet because we have a lot of sweet things going on here with the apple cider. Party! I love the bubbles in it too. Look at that. It's so pretty. Perfect. That is it. It took me less than 5 minutes. It is absolutely gorgeous. I mean, look at it. I just want to serve this at every fall party that I've ever had. But the piece de resistance for this entire thing, y'all, I'm making caramel apple slices to garnish my glasses. I have my apple slices and I've kind of cut them as you would like a lemon wedge that you can stick it on the side of your glass. So on the end that you did not make the slit in, just dip it into your caramel sauce. Do not make this. Buy this stuff. They sell it every day at the grocery store. Take the slit and then just stick it on the glass. Oh my gosh. And that's it, y'all. How adorable is this? If you wanted to, you could stick a straw in it, you could put ice in it, you could put a cinnamon stick in it. This is really a you do you drink, and y'all know that that is my motto, but it's so cute. I would highly recommend, if you don't put a straw, to eat your caramel apple first. Otherwise, you're gonna get caramel all over your face whenever you drink your sangria. So delicious, so fall. I'm gonna sip on this for the rest of this segment because I have 5 more apple recipes to get to, so let's get started, shall we? The next one that I have up, apple slices or apple chips. For this recipe, if you do not have a mandolin, I highly recommend buying one. But these things, y'all, I call them death traps. They are sharp. Set it to the thickness that you want. We're looking for these to be almost paper thin. Check it with the first couple of slices to make sure that your rings are the thickness that you want them to be. This is kind of perfect. You don't want them to be so thin that you can see through them, but pretty thin. And then carefully just back and forth. Once you get towards the end of your apple, just stop whenever it gets too uncomfortable. For me, I have a couple more slices left in this apple, and then I would rather throw away this much apple or cut it up and snack on these parts than to risk slicing off my finger. And that's it, all of these apple chips. 2 options here. You can make your apple chips like this, or you can core them. You can use a sharp knife or like a really small round cutter. This is a legit apple corer. This just gives them a really cool like apple ring look. Once all of your apple slices are cored or halved or whatever you decided to do with your apples, toss them with some cinnamon or your spice of choice. And then we're gonna lay them flat on a baking sheet. This is probably the most time-consuming part of the entire recipe because you can't let the apples overlap. So you definitely wanna make sure that you lay them flat. If they overlap, they won't get crispy. At this point, my oven is preheated to 225 and I'm going to bake them for 2 hours or until they're mostly dry and crisp. But thanks to TV magic, I already have some that are done in the oven. I love TV magic. I did not want to wait 2 hours for those apple chips. Look how pretty they are. Some of them are crispy, they're still a little pliable. They are so delicious. You can use these to top any recipe. You can just use them as a snack. This would be good on yogurt, with granola, and it's a beautiful garnish, y'all. The options are limitless. Our third apple recipe that is not apple pie is a savory application for apples, which I am obsessed with. I think people always think that you have to put apples in something sweet. So it's kind of like a chopped kale salad that is everywhere nowadays, but this, instead of kale, uses Brussels sprouts, which I think is so fun, so delicious. If you've never made slaw with Brussels sprouts, I highly recommend it. I thinly sliced these Brussels sprouts on the mandolin the same way that I did with the apples. So into this bowl, we're gonna do the whole thing in the same bowl that I'm serving it in. This is 1 chopped apple. These are some of those Fuji's that I picked up at Steel Orchard. Parmesan cheese, which just adds a lot of like a depth to this that you really couldn't get otherwise. Then a pinch, like a quarter to half teaspoon of crushed red pepper, about a teaspoon of kosher salt, half teaspoon of black pepper, coarsely chopped pecans. This is a 1/3 cup. And then some honey. I'm gonna drizzle this all in. Lemons. This calls for a tablespoon of lemon zest and a 1/4 cup of lemon juice. So always zest your lemons, any kind of citrus, before you juice them. So in order to juice it, I'm just going to kind of massage it. This kind of loosens up all of the juices, and then cut it in half. But I like to squeeze my lemons over my fingers, and all of the seeds get caught in my fingers, but the juice still runs through. And then about 6 tablespoons of olive oil. That is it. So easy. 1 bowl wonder. Took me less than 10 minutes to make, including slicing the Brussels sprouts. Did not take any time at all. The mandolin saves so much time. We're on recipe number 4 of 6. Perfect for fall, because guess what's in the fall? Football. Like all good dips do, This starts with 8 ounces of cream cheese. And we're going to add in some brown sugar and vanilla extract. I am mixing all of these ingredients together, and then I'm going to put it into a ramekin and chill it for about 2 hours or even overnight. Spread it as smooth as you can get it, but it doesn't have to be perfect. Cover it with plastic wrap and chill it, like I said, for 2 hours at least or overnight. But thanks to TV magic, I already have one chilled and I don't have to worry with the whole 2 hours or overnight thing. Now I'm going to top it with some granulated sugar. Just kind of sprinkle it on here. The last step is a tray of ice. So this is just a 9-inch round cake pan that I've filled with ice, and I'm going to stick my already sugared caramel apple dip into the ice. And what this does, it just keeps everything cool in there so that it will brown evenly and not scorch the cream cheese. My broiler is preheated to high. I'm gonna pop this in there on the rack. I already made sure that my rack is on the highest setting so that this will fit underneath the broiler and not burn. I'm gonna put it in there for 5 minutes just until the sugar is golden and crisp on the top. Look at this. Yum! My sugar is bruleed on the top. It's crispy, it's crunchy, it's delicious, and now I'm gonna let this cool a little bit before I pick it up and put it on a serving platter with apple slices to dip into my caramel apple dip. And now the best part, cracking into it. So just like creme brulee, you take the back of a spoon, you pop it, crack it, it's crunchy and creamy on the bottom. Perfect vehicle for an apple slice. Yum. It is time for number 5. Hello, Dolly bars! Chocolate, coconut, pecan, butterscotch. It's amazing and so delicious. This is just a straight up Hello Dolly bar recipe. The only extra step that you add to make them apple is to just sprinkle some chopped apples on the top before you bake it. Y'all, genius, so good. So instead of giving you a demo on how to make this entire recipe for Hello Dolly bars, go to southernliving.com and you can find the recipe. I promise it's so easy, but to save time for this episode, I'm just cutting them and putting them on a platter, and I'm gonna enjoy them. The whole point of this episode is to just give y'all some inspiration beyond apple pie for ways to use apples, and I think so far I've achieved 5 amazing recipes. First though. For our 6th and final recipe, I am making an easy apple crisp. In this large cast iron skillet, I melted 3 tablespoons of butter. I put in 2 Honeycrisp apples that I peeled and thinly sliced, and then a 1/4 cup of light brown sugar and a 1/2 teaspoon of cinnamon. So I am just stirring this all up. My apples are getting soft. Now I'm going to whisk a teaspoon of all-purpose flour into a 1/3 cup of apple cider vinegar. And what this does is it's going to thicken the liquid and all of the juices that have come off of these apples. Now that my thickening liquid agent is in here, I'm going to bring it up to a boil and let it cook and let the juices thicken into like a syrup consistency. And then I'm basically done. This is the apple crisp filling. And then I'm gonna take pre-made maple pecan granola and put it on top and call it a day. Why make a crust, make a crumble, put it in the oven whenever you could just buy granola that's already done for you and put it on top of the apples and just call it a dessert? So you know at Cracker Barrel, the fried apples, this is what this reminds me of. So yummy. It's basically just apple pie filling deconstructed. I can't give this a fair try without topping with ice cream. I just feel like I would be at a disadvantage. So on my serving, a very generous scoop of my favorite homemade vanilla ice cream. Look at that. Oh yeah, honestly, would rather have this over apple pie, mostly because I didn't have to spend 2 hours making the apple pie and letting it cool. This is like the lazy man's apple pie, and you can eat it for breakfast, maybe minus the ice cream. Or I'm not judging if you want ice cream for breakfast. You do you. How about them apples? You know I couldn't go this entire episode without saying some kind of apple pun. I did it. 6 apple recipes. We have a drink, we have a snack, we have desserts, we have dip, and we have a fresh fall vegetable salad slaw situation. I love how easy these were. None of them were pie. I don't suggest making them all in one day. I just wanted to do all of them for y'all to give you some inspiration. So if you have been inspired, I would love to hear about it on my Instagram. You can follow me at Odom. But of course, Southern Living will be back right here again next week. I will see y'all soon. Happy apple season. Bye, y'all.